Attempt number 2, because the first one ran out of internet. The internet essentially just shut itself down and took a good 20 minutes to come back. Anyway, we've done a full PC reset and we're here in Strathgordon in Tasmania. We will be flying down to Melaleuca Lagoon, also known as Bathurst Harbour. Bathurst Harbour is right there. Now I see that my attach window hasn't happened. Cool. And we probably haven't even gotten our Excel spreadsheet thing up. So I'll get that up now. There we are. So we should have about 46 gallon of fuel on board, according to that. No fuel down here, so we can't fill her up or anything. The minimum safety IFR altitude is 6,100. However, we have a little bit of a difference here. So we'll be flying from Strathgordon across the Macquarie Harbour, making a fairly chunk inland, which is into this area around Lake Gordon, Lake Pedder, part of the Tasmanian hydroelectricity dam lakes. Then we'll track down south to Bathurst Harbour. So this little grey area is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. There's a lot of politics went into that, why that is a UN World Heritage Site. 7 different national parks inside this grey area. And we have these fly-enably advices from the URSA. So it says, understanding between locally based scenic flights and charter operations and the TPWS to operate inside the World Heritage Area, Mount Field area, in an agreed and responsible manner. Other pilots undertaking sightseeing sites, us, should obtain information on these areas, tracking details, operating altitudes, and specific areas to be avoided from the Director. Tasmanian Parks and Wildlife Service. We'll assume that we did that. Maps may be downloaded from the following website, and if you try to go to that website right now, it doesn't exist. Also from most flying schools and charter operators based throughout Cambridge, Launceston, Devonport, Wynyard and Strahan, and probably Hobart. The FLAi area, that big grey area, Cradle Valley Mountain, Traveller Range, Mount Australia, etc. General minimum overfly altitude of this area is 4,000 feet, terrain permitting, to minimise the impact of noise. So we'll be maintaining as much as we can 4,500, possibly 5,000. Of course there is cloud around, sitting at scattered 3,000 today. That cloud is due to get worse overnight, so that's why I'm trying to push ahead to make the flight today, because tomorrow the cloud's going to be at like 1,600 raining with 4,000 metre visibility. Let's not do that. And here we have endeavour to cross walking tracks and the Franklin River at right angles. So you can see through that space that we're going to be flying over. Coming out of Strathgordon, we can fly down the harbour all fine. But the main one here is the Franklin River. We want to be as high as possible and fly directly across. So we'll probably come through that little valley there, pop straight across, and then down to the Lake Gordon. Once we are airborne, we'll probably have a little bit of chat about Lake Gordon and why the Franklin River is so, protected at the moment. There was a big thing that happened in 1983 where the government of Tasmania wanted to build a dam right there in that little space where the River Gordon and the River Flanken join each other and through that tiny little gap. And they're going to dam that up and make this entire thing a massive lake. That didn't happen, and the way it didn't happen is the UN got involved, someone in the UK got involved, got arrested. Bob Brown made his name, and an F-111 did something illegal. So we'll have a look at that. Anyhow, let's jump on. Hello to Aaron and to iWomen and Tim and Captain AB and Toilet. Yes, we are back on the air. First time the internet just decided it didn't want to be connected anymore. So it just dropped out. About 2 minutes into the stream. It's like, 2 minutes is long enough. Bye. Click. I didn't put JKN where I expected to put it. Okay, well, we'll do it here. All the things that I set up last time haven't been done. Gonna get rid of the pilot. And let's jump in. Master switch is on. Let's grab that. Flaps. Flaps are done. And I'll walk around. Okay, tie down is off. Just checking that's all moving. Cool. Looking good in there. Give it a bit of a kick. Hinges are happening. Flaps are looking okay. These are looking fine. Tie down is off. Chocks are away. Fuel drain, we're not refueling, so what we have is what we have. It's at about 23 gallon. How many should we have? 46, so it should be about 23 in each. Just checking that in. 23 and a bit, yep, cool. Oil's still looking happy. That's all fuel. Propellers will look fine. Air intakes are good. A static valve up the top. Yep, that's a good 23 gallon. And it's all fuel. Chuck that back in. Chocks are off. That's away. There's nothing blocking the stall warning system or the fuel drain. Looking good. Hello Kimbini. Flaps are solid and looking good. Let's jump in. It's pretty cool out there. Let's have a listen to the ATIS before we go blasting off, because we can. Strong.
Automated Weather Information Service. Strathgordon Airport. Time 0854 Zulu. Wind 320 degrees magnetic at 8 knots. Visibility 12 kilometers. Present weather. No significant weather. Cloud scattered 4,100 feet. Temperature 9er. Dew point 6. QNH 1025 hectopascals. Rainfall last 10 minutes nil. Automated weather information.
That's much better than what's on the forecast for tomorrow, which would be, as we said, about 1,600 feet clouds with rain and 4-kilometer visibility. So what we actually have is 4,100 scattered, so we can probably weave around between the clouds, but even if we can't, we can still probably maintain 4,000 feet through the valleys. Let's discuss the runway. So wind is 320 at 8, obviously going to be using runway 36, so it's the full length back taxi and takeoff, and we'll make a left-hand circuit because the town's on the right side. After takeoff, left-hand circuit onto the coastline, and then we'll join probably the middle, essentially, of the Macquarie Harbour. Once we get down to about here, we want to cut inland a little bit into a place that they call, and I'll put it in here, Farmer's Cove. Now, Farmer's Cove is an interesting little place. There was once a penal colony settlement, prison essentially, on that coastline. Now, the history of it is that people that got sent as convicts to Sydney, they were bad enough to be sent to Sydney. Now, if you're bad in Sydney, you got sent to Tasmania. And in Tasmania, you got sent to Hobart normally, Port Arthur. Once you hung out in Port Arthur, if you're a good young settler, you'd essentially be let loose, or at least stay in Port Arthur. And if you're bad in Port Arthur, so bad that you're essentially a prisoner inside a prison colony, but too bad to stay there, then they send you off over here, which is very far away from anywhere, and was one of the hardest, one of the worst places to be if you're a convict. Anyway, we'll fly over the little town. Well, it's essentially reclaimed by wilderness ghost town of Farm Cove. And then we'll pop in directly over the Franklin River, which is that one there, the big thick one. Now, the requirement is to pass directly over the river. So we're going to go the shortest directly across. You can't follow down. You're not allowed to follow the gorge down. That's a UNESCO heritage listed site. We'll talk about it when we get there, but the idea is to get across there as quickly as possible, as high as possible, and we can drop down towards Lake Gordon after we've passed. I think we should probably aim to come through one of these little valleys here, so probably this one here, which is essentially directly east of Macquarie Harbour. So come straight across, roaring across that mountain, straight across there, and then down. Once that's happened, we'll hit Strathgordon, which is the only real town out in this part of the world. Strathgordon is one of these towns that was essentially built to service the hydroelectricity dam. If the hydro didn't exist, that wouldn't exist either. From there, you can see a little airfield at Lake Pedder. We won't be going there. We'll instead be going directly south towards Bathurst Harbour. And here we have Melaleuca Lagoon and the Bathurst Harbour airfield right there. Airfield is part of OZx. You won't see it if you don't have OZx, so good luck. And we have ourselves not set up in metric. There we go. So QNH is 1025 set. I'm happy with that. And let's have a look at our checklist. Weight and balance has been checked. And we've got a bit more stuff on board today, so let's chuck in a girl. Bought the girl. Oh yeah, look at that. We're going camping because we're going to be spending about a week, a few days at least, a weekend down at Bathurst Harbour, and there's literally nothing there. No shops, no roads. There's a log cabin. If you don't bring it in, you don't have it. There's nowhere to buy food. If you get down here and you got no food, then you better be good at fishing. Anyhow, parking brake is set. Control wheel lock is removed, and I can move that quite freely. We already know the fuel, 23 gallon per tank. Static pressure valve system is in the standard position. Let's turn this on. Test system. Let's wait for the flashing lights to go away. Done. Fuel selector valve set to both. Shut off valve is on the in. Flaps are extended, master switch off, elevator trim is set for takeoff. Okay, engine starting, throttle cracked. Mixture, idle, master switch is on, beacon is in. Fuel pump. It's in the green, pumps off. Prop area is clear. Clear prop. (6°C out there. Okay, let's turn that on. Flaps coming up. Gonna stick in a couple of waypoints. Firstly, STRA. Strathgordon. And I'm not sure we even have the other one, but we'll see. It's BHB. Yep, we have it. South 43 146. I think we have it. Yeah, we do. Look at that. It's actually in my GPS. Didn't expect that. Apparently I've entered that in manually at some point in the past. That's cool. The hard bit of the navigation's done. Let's look at our compass. It's 210. After departure we'll be heading on a magnetic heading of 121, 115. We'll do 115. Is that 115 or 155? 115. Cool. And we're on Strahan, multicom.
Strahan traffic, Echo Alpha Tango enters runway 36 for backtrack.
Transponders on. About 50 miles down to Strathgordon, and after that we'll be down to Melaleuca Lagoon. Oh, there, William. How you doing? Alright, time to do some run-ups. Just check where our tail is pointed. Might push it a little bit. No, that'll do it. It's into the building. It's cool. Good drop. Yep. About 600 RPM. 1000's good. Alright, I'm just going to have a look at out the side here.
Strawn traffic, Echo for Tango Cessna 172, departure runway 36 Royal left, downwind departure to the southeast. Strawn traffic.
Traffic.
Okay, checklist. For takeoff, seats, belts and doors. Checking that the doors are secure, give it a good jam. Flight controls are free and correct. Flight instruments are checked and set. Fuel quantity is good with about 26 in each tank. And mixture, rich. Actually leaning out a little bit now. Fuel selector is on both. Throttle's been done. Radios and lights are set for departure. Transponders on. We have 122.8, which I'll need to monitor as well. And we've got 124.0, the nearest centre. Elevator trim is in the neutral, and flaps are set 0. Checklist complete. Strawn traffic, Juliet Kilo November, Cessna 172, entering runway 36 to backtrack. Yeah, the new sim's looking great.
Strawn traffic, Echo for Tango on downwind at 1,000 feet, tracking direct Strathgordon to the southeast. Strawn traffic.
Can't wait to get my hands on the new sim and start round 2 of the tour. At this stage we're probably going to be pushing this aircraft out to Bruny Island sometime early next week, up to Sandfly late next week, and then on Sunday we're flying from Sandfly up to Hobart and Launceston. With any luck we'll make a pass at Cradle Mountain a second time. Hopefully we'll actually see it this time. And yeah. I just saw my own stream start to die. You guys still see me? Avid997, g'day. Good stuff. I could pre-order it. I actually just got my, I've sent my tax return in, and I'm going to get something like nearly $2,000 worth of tax return because of all of the COVID things. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And I will certainly order it as soon as I get that in my bank account in the next 5 days. Strawn traffic, Kilo November is departing runway 36, left hand downwind departure, and then tracking southeast, sorry. Mixture Rich. All the lights are in. I might as well chuck on that because it's only 6 degrees out. Let's go. Established climb about 75 knots. Good to know those clouds are about 4,000 feet tall. 4,100, that's it. It's 500. Draw next seat. Yep. Right, rudder a little bit more. Got quite a bit of it in. I've got about half of the rudder in already. It's flying like a twin engine with one engine shut down. Strawn traffic, Kilo November is on the downwind, climbing through 1,000 feet, climbing 4,000. We'll track along Macquarie Harbour and then further southwest. So yeah, Strawn is about the last position on this coastline that has a proper road. After this, you run out of road, and it's a walking track. Barely even, you probably wouldn't even manage to get a four-wheel drive down here. Possibly a motorbike, but I doubt it's legal. And I don't think there's any infrastructure to get it across the rivers. So good luck. Most people bring boats. They just go up and down the rivers. Trent's Trekkies. Sounds like a Star Trek club. There you go, strong. And the township of Strawn right there. It's easy enough to drive to Strawn, but Driving south of Strathgordon is a no. Those are walking tracks. Maybe get a quad bike. Anyhow, this little place we're flying over right now, this body of water, is Macquarie Harbour. And as I alluded to earlier, at the bottom end of Macquarie Harbour is a old penal colony. It's one of those jails inside a jail, inside itself another jail. Now, technically the harbour itself is not inside the UNESCO World Heritage Site. You'd need to be a little bit further inland. Probably by the time you hit these first ranges of mountains, you'll be inside the UNESCO World Heritage Site. Ideally, we'll be flying above 4,000 feet inside the UNESCO World Heritage Site, but clouds permitting. Obviously, they don't expect you to fly IFR through a VFR aircraft. There's no navies down here, there's basically no electricity down here. Which is pretty ironic since the entire point of having the dams, which created the enlarged Lake Pedder and Lake Gordon, is for electricity. Which all gets sent north. Hobart, Launceston. There's an undersea cable which is actually able to pump electricity up and down, so a lot of it goes over into Victoria. The undersea electricity cable. We're at 4,000 feet. Those clouds are going to be at about 1,100 feet above us. So we'll stay here and we'll kind of weave around between the clouds. Since we're where we want to be, as far as altitude is concerned, it's time to lean out the mixture. I'm going to check that EGT as we do it. Trimming it out as well because we are accelerating. And we do want to keep an eye on that RPM needle. Just make sure it just stays about 3,500. Hi there, Rossi, how you doing? We're about an hour late due to an internet issue. The internet just stopped working for about 15-20 minutes. 2 minutes into the stream, it's like, well, welcome to the new stream. We're going to fly to end of stream. Well, here we are again. So yeah, the Macquarie Harbour at the moment. That there is the Farmer's Cove. I didn't do a check of time. I think it was about 5 minutes ago. We'll do the Farmer's Cove at 9 minutes out. That one. So tracking across Farmer's Cove, we'll probably be able to, if I zoom in a little, track the top of it down this little road, which is an actual road, straight across to the Franklin River. We'll probably fly over the valley, but the idea is to fly straight across the Franklin River before we track south. You can't track along the Franklin River. Hi there, Rossi. Yeah, I've heard of Captain Canada. Don't really know much about him. Apart from the fact that he's Canadian, hence the name. So here we are, Farmer's Cove. I think we'll be there at about time 22. Apparently Farmers Cove is a game reserve. And there's an old brickyard just up in here. Goes up into the hill. That was a convict brickyard. They actually built bricks with convict labour essentially. The clouds are scattered enough that we can actually get above them. Might consider doing that actually. Cool. Alright, so that is Farmers Cove right there. Got to log that in as time 22. .36 for the next one, which is the Gordon River. Check-in, so it's 115, like that. And what heading did we want? 115, funny. Double check, is that the Franklin River or is it one between us and the Franklin? We're about there. Should be the Franklin. Alright, so the Franklin River, which we are either seeing right now or will be embarrassed by the fact that it's probably the next one across. The Franklin River was going to be dammed by the Tasmanian government under the auspices of the hydroelectricity scheme in Tasmania, Tasmania Hydroelectricity, it was HEC, Hydroelectric Commission, or Company, can't remember which, 1983. So before that, in the 1970s, they'd already built the dams that we're going to see in a little while at Gordon River and at Lake Pedder. Essentially just flooded entire massive valleys of well-known, forest, recreational area, national park. A lot of people very upset about that, as you can imagine. They didn't want their favourite little bit of river or lake to be swamped underwater. So there were big protests organised in the 1980s. Some very high-profile individuals in those protests, including Bob Brown, Dave Thompson from the United Kingdom, an actor from the UK, came down and actually got arrested, put in jail in Hobart. Was a petition to have his release from jail. Made it very high-profile, internationally high-profile. So anyway, the Bob Hawke government said that if they were going to be elected, they would stop the construction going ahead. So that was their election promise. They would stop the construction of this massive dam on this river right here that we're seeing right under us right now. And the fact that this isn't a massive lake tells you the end of the story, doesn't it? Anyhow, as part of that, they got elected. Bob Hawke became the Prime Minister of Australia, 83. And they went to the High Court to stop the Tasmanian LNP government from continuing construction of a dam right down here. Just a minute, need to slow down a touch. Cool. I'll do an orbit around here because I'm liking that big chunky bend in the river. Looks really good. Got to see where the confluence of the two rivers is to identify. No, that's not Franklin. Franklin's the next one. Anyhow, there was suggestion that the government was still continuing its construction of the dam, even though they were in court over the construction of the dam, and it wasn't looking like they were going to get the stopwater. And to prove that they were essentially, misleading the court by telling them that they were not building while they were, one of the ministers in the Hawke government authorised or even requested that the RAAF send a F-111 down here to take some photographs, which is against the Constitution of Australia because that's essentially the federal government using military assets to spy on the state. So we had F-111s flying around here taking, reconnaissance photos of this area to prove in court that the dam that wasn't meant to be constructed was still being constructed. So anyway, at the end of the day, the UNESCO listed this whole area as a World Heritage Site, and nothing can be built in here, which is why we've got no roads, we've got no towns. Aircraft are required, or as you saw in the Ursa there, requested to maintain above 4,000 feet where possible. I say as I come out of 3,900 feet. Fly neighbourly advice. This has got to be the river here. And that river is I think the last and only free running river in Tasmania. Which is to say the only river that doesn't have any bridges, no weirs, no dams, no modification to the flow of the river at all. It's, I believe, the only river like that in Tasmania. Yeah, I've got some good tailwind happening. 13 knots up the 6. Should be good. So yeah, this is the Franklin here. There is a request to just essentially you don't do circles around here. You just go straight through. Don't hang around. Try to cross the river as close to 90 degrees as possible. You're not allowed to fly along the river. So even if we had massive clouds on those hill banks, too bad, so sad, go over them or go back. But you're not allowed to scud run that gap. Because UNESCO World Heritage Site says this is a protected wilderness area and you're not allowed to go down there. You're allowed to whitewater raft. I've seen videos of people whitewater rafting down here. Heritage Landing, yep. Whole stuff. One of the most famous photographs of the 1980s green movement are of the confluence between the Gordon River and the Franklin, which should be there, essentially. Around that kind of gorge, a little bit further south possibly as well. Yeah, one of the state's most famous rivers that you're not allowed to see, apart from flying over it at 4,000 feet or more, or go there in a boat. That's it. So yeah, massive thing with the Green Party that grew up around that whole movement, and Bob Brown became a well-known bugbear in Australian federal politics in the Green Party for many, many a year. Decades. He kind of made his name up over that. So, that's what a pristine Tasmanian river looks like. What we're going to do now is fly over towards Lake Gordon, which is a man-made river behind a massive dam. And I guess ideally the Hydroelectricity Commission would have wanted to make this whole area a massive lake. So we would have been flying over water right now if they had gone ahead. Instead we're flying over a massive temperate rainforest, which is, there's not many of these in the world really. Well, not in the southern hemisphere anyway, certainly not in Australia. I think it's the only one in Australia. There's a little bit of the southern Gippsland, which is considered temperate rainforest, but the species in Tasmania are completely different, cut off from the mainland as they are. Very different soils, very different rocks even. They have these like really long shale pieces that you can probably see from the shape of the lakes when we get around there. But yeah, there's really weird kind of stretched out long hard grey rock. So yeah, Tasmania is very different to the mainland of Australia. You probably noticed that in the flying anyway. Certainly a lot more forest, quite dense forest as well. Very wet, quite cool. We've got 2 degrees Celsius out here at 4,000 feet. And pretty much south of our position there is one town left that we'll fly over, Strathgordon. It's at the end, kind of the south end of this lake here that we're coming up on. I might track directly south towards the Gordon River so I can go over the dam. So there's a very large retaining dam. It's not the generation dam. Actually, I might even do that. But yeah, massive huge dam just down south here. That'll be the Gordon River that we're seeing there. That's true. Barrier Islands, and an island that's uninhabited. And Strathgordon, which is a little township which was built essentially to service the dams. The people that constructed the dams in the first place, but because they are hydroelectricity dams, they're constantly got moving parts in them, and they need to be regulated for electricity and all that kind of stuff. Since we've got pretty good weather today, it's not perfect, but it's pretty good. For winter in Tasmania, it's amazing. That's why I decided to fly today and not tomorrow, because there's a bit of a cold front coming in tomorrow. Probably just underneath South Australia right now, but overnight these ceilings are going to drop. You're going to get the massive chunk of cloud at 1,600 feet is the forecast. Rain, 4,000 metre visibility was on the TAF. Hi there Rossi, I've got 3 different masks, and I just received one today actually from a friend of mine, sent it to me in the post. Up till now I've been using just the surgical mask thing that I bought a while back. I bought 3 of them. I'm on to mask 2 at the moment. I've just received today a nice cloth mask. I haven't even unwrapped it yet, but I'm told it's green. That's the only thing I've been told. The colour green, not as in, you know, greenies green and that kind of stuff, but it's made out of a cloth and it'll be interesting. But yeah, basically I just slap on one of the now 4 masks that I have. I have 2 in the car currently. One of them, the strap is starting to get a bit loose, so I'm going to have to dump that one. But fortunately I've got a new replacement, so we shall see how that goes. I might chuck in a selfie of myself wearing a mask next time I get the chance, sometime over the weekend. And I'll pop it on the community thing. Anyway, this is Lake Gordon. It used to be a valley. So this used to be a valley with little hills in it. It is now a massive lake with little islands in it. And the reason it's a lake is because a massive dam down here is holding back all this water. And I believe we can see the dam right down there. There it is, poking through. You can see the road going down to it, so, you know, people from Strathgordon that are workers of the hydroelectrical scheme can go down there and work at the dam. Very deep gorge. That's why they chose that position to put the dam there, because you can build a really short dam and you block a lot of river. Very deep dam. You can see how deep that gorge used to be. And that gorge would have continued all the way up instead of having a lake there. There's a bit of a water diversion that's been blocked off in the past, but yeah, the Gordon River Dam, right there. Now, UNESCO World Heritage Site technically still applies to even the lakes, even though they're man-made lakes. So it should still be at 5,000, at say 4,000 or above. But I feel that since we're in the middle of a man-made lake, it's probably a little less important than over Franklin River. Got Strathgordon coming over there, just off to our left. There it is, Strathgordon. And we've kept fairly clear of that position, so they won't hear our noise too much. Once again, almost the limit of roads, so there's a little road that we're just flying over right now, which goes out to a lookout, where you can look out over the valleys and over the lakes. We're almost flying directly over now. Time is 40, 6, 7, 8, 5. We'll call it 40. Next one should be Lake Pedder. 45. Almost on the hour. Yep, 59 on that one. We can go a little quicker. So I say goodbye to the little town of Strathgordon. That's where most of the employees of the hydroelectricity scheme live. You also get a lot of tourists coming up here to just like go boating on the lakes, This isn't lake. These lakes aren't water storage for Tasmania. These are hydroelectricity. Anyway, we're going to take up the correct heading. Give me a second. Should be 155. So yeah, we're over Lake Pedder now, or New Lake Pedder. There used to be a very small thing called Lake Pedder, which is now some, I think it's 50 feet underwater, 40 feet, something like that. Way up there in the valley. That particular Lake Pedder used to drain down into, well, a river, which is now this massive dam right there. There's a couple of pipe dreams from other people saying that they want to restore Lake Pedder by essentially draining this man-made lake a little bit. Big proposals that'll cost like hundreds of millions of dollars and have the effect of reducing the capacity of the hydroelectricity scheme by up to 80%. It's not going to happen. It's already here. I agree, it's quite sad to see what used to be a very nice valley essentially drowned. There's no trees down here anymore. They've all died because they've been drowned. You get a lot of like dead wood around the edges because it hasn't, even though it's been like this since about 1978, the shoreline hasn't really developed into a proper shoreline even yet. It will, and as it does, it'll probably erode the edges a little bit, and you'll start getting sediment deposits all around the edge. And at that point, what is there to restore? A lake bed. Certainly nothing living down. Well, there's fish down there, but certainly no land animals or plants down there. Yeah, that's right, William. I don't believe Strathgordon can really expand. I guess you could do a council approval. I suspect that the man-made area is allowed to do what it wants to do, but once you leave the immediate area of the lake, you're in UNESCO World Heritage Site again. So for instance, you wouldn't be able to build anything there, or on this hill, or on that nice flat plain over the side. Now when I'm looking over here, I'm seeing where we're going, because that's the Southern Ocean right there ahead of us. That's not another lake, that's the Southern Ocean. South of there is a couple of little desolate islands, and then beyond that, Antarctica. Some 3 hours flying away at 747 speeds. I'm tempted to roll down into that valley, although that valley is a river and we're technically not allowed to do that, so up we go. Which river is that one? It's not the Huon, the Hardwood River. There's also the Huon River a little bit further down to the east, I think. I've not yet ordered 2020, but I will as soon as I get my tax return, which is substantial this year. Other years it's like, how much is my tax return? A couple of $100. This time it's like well over. It's nearly $2,000. Not quite 2,000, but pretty close. Yep, I've got a spare SSD actually, funnily enough, that you mentioned. Hopefully we can still split our installation. So we install the main SIM on the SSD, and we have all the add-on peripherals in a hard drive. I'm talking PNGs and add-on sceneries and stuff. I should be able to fit the entire core SIM on the SSD, and then we'll hopefully be able to migrate stuff off the SSD as we need to. So, up ahead of us we have Bathurst Harbour. Good old Bathurst Harbour. And just south of Bathurst Harbour there's a pretty shallow and narrow passage that goes down to Melaleuca Lagoon. And the so-called Bathurst Harbour airfield is south of Melaleuca Lagoon, which itself is actually south of Bathurst Harbour. I was looking about what to do down here in this part of the world, and it's essentially walking. You go walking, you can go whitewater rafting on the Franklin River, do canoeing, small scale boating because these rivers are pretty shallow, and that's about it. There's no motoring, there's no restaurants, there's no accommodation. You camp, that's what you do. No, it's Bathurst related to some old dude in England in the 1700s. Yeah. We're not in New South Wales. I missed your question. Dubai to Seoul. Looking forward to not being at it. That's what I'm looking forward to. No, not really. So to get into this Bathurst Harbour, there's actually no transportation apart from the tiny airfield and going there on a boat. So that's it. You go there on a boat. Yeah, I'm probably not doing the Dubai to Seoul event, I'm afraid. A bit too long. I'll look into it, but no promises. Looking forward to India tomorrow. We're below 4,000. Let's climb again. Radio 5AU, I'm not from Tassie, I'm from Melbourne. I've been to Tassie twice. That's true. It depends how I feel. Lisbon to Brazil was fun because I hadn't been to Brazil for so long. This weekend I'm looking forward to getting the Dubai to... Sorry, not Dubai. Mumbai in India to New Delhi. Also looking forward to Colombia to Singapore. That's a good one. Probably the F&O as well. And that's about it. Yeah, those mountain waves are knocking us around quite a bit. You can see the aircraft just bounce all over the place. Just to be expected, to be honest, but anyway. Yep, that's right. Indian one about 11:30 p.m. tomorrow. With any luck, yeah. Yeah, that Bangkok approach control was a bit meh. And we essentially flew our own approach. We had vectors and it cleared us to intercept the localizer while we were on a 180 degree flying away from the airfield. Exactly parallel to the runway. So, yeah, no, that's not an ILS approach. That's not intercept anything. It's just like, make up your own approach. Caps Canada at 4 in the morning. That's fun. Anyway, there's something that we have forgotten to do, and that is... Oh yeah, that's right. We need CTAPs and stuff down here. What's the area frequency? 12555? Should have been listening to Melbourne Centre. We're only 16 miles out. CTAF is 126.7. Alright, cool. It's hard to do that while you're getting knocked around so hard. "14 miles out, we are estimating 7 minutes to touchdown. So that there is the, we'll call it the Southern Ocean. Just behind that massive hill is a rather small channel, and that pushes the water into that first section of Bathurst Harbour and then into this larger section of Bathurst Harbour. Way down south here somewhere is where we are going. That's Melaleuca Lagoon there.
Bathurst Harbour traffic, Echo Alpha Tango Cessna 172. 5 miles to the north of the field. We'll be joining a left crosswind, runway 30, estimated safe time 58, and we're at 5,000 feet. Bathurst Harbour traffic.
Yeah, pretty windy. The aircraft's just not staying steady at all. That's to be expected, especially with all these hills around. What's the wind doing? It's about 27 knots. Okay, that'll explain that. Runway 12 and runway 30. The wind is from the north. Runway 30 seems about right to me. Yep. No CTAF frequency listed, so I've just gone with 126.7, which is the default CTAF in Australia. We're of course listening to 122.8, and we've heard the other aircraft make his broadcast. We'll make ours in a second. That's not air traffic control, because we're flying well outside air traffic controlled areas. We're in the UNESCO World Heritage Wilderness Site, so nobody's controlling anything below 18,000 feet. What you heard there was another aircraft. One of the people on the stream here, I think it was, is Spencer, flying his Cessna 172 or Piper Archer, I didn't really check. And yeah, he's about, he said 5 miles from the field, we're about 10 now. Traffic, Bathurst Harbour, Juliet Kilo November, Cessna 172, we are 10 miles to the north of the field, 4,000 feet, we on the set, join base runway, join downwind, runway 30. Traffic, Bathurst Harbour. Yeah, I think we're using the default 126.7, that's an Australian default frequency, because there's nothing published, so we're just using the default. You could be using 122.8, and I'm listening to 122.8 on the second radio as well. In fact, we should probably broadcast on it. Traffic Unicom, Juliet Kilo November is a Cessna 172. We are approximately 7 miles to the north of Bathurst Harbour.
Traffic, Echo Tango at 3,000 feet, joining downwind.
He's come to the same conclusion as I am, and he's broadcasting on the main frequency. Juliet Kilo November, Bathurst Harbour, and estimating time Bathurst Harbour 01 Unicom. So that was my broadcast to Unicom. I don't need to do that again unless anyone else talks on it. Since we're on descent, I'm going to go ahead and increase this again. And let's do a checklist. So the brakes are released. Mixture's coming up to full rich now, at 3,000 feet it will. We'll hold off the checklist until then. Got the Lagoon in sight, we just need to be slightly south of there. I'm pretty sure I can see the runway, yep, I've got it. Runway 33 is pointing that way obviously. 30, sorry. Everything will be visual from here on in, so 30 set. We'll fly almost over the field. And we need to be fairly tight on the downwind end, the base, because of those massive mountains right there. That body of water beyond the mountains is the Great Southern Ocean. Nothing between us and Antarctica after you leave that. Apart from that one little island over there, which is desolate, not populated at all. Bunch of penguins over there. Yeah, that wind is throwing us around quite a lot. Ground speed 116. Hello, Owen, how are you doing?
Bathurst Harbour traffic, Echo Tango, Cessna 172, short, final runway 23.
Where is he? There he is. Good stuff. We'll just keep an eye on him, make sure it doesn't go around. We'll hold our descent at 1,500 till we cross over. He's landed. And he stopped. Cool. Traffic Bathurst Harbour, Juliet Kilo November is 1,500 on descent. We'll be joining from a crosswind, runway 30.
Bathurst Harbour traffic, aircraft tankers are vacated.
Beautiful. At 1,000, mixture is fully rich. Brakes, undercarriage is fixed, mixture full rich, pump is on. Fuel sets to both, seats and harnesses are secure. Checklist is complete. Go as far wide as I can muster. It's more like that. There we go. Yep. It's a very short field, it's about 400 metres long. Flaps 10. These mountains are indeed super close and it feels pretty claustrophobic with this tiny runway and these close mountains in this tiny valley. All the wind blasting up through there from Antarctica, through that gap in the mountains. Traffic Bathurst Harbour, Juliet Kilo November is base, runway 30, full stop. There it is. All the flaps. Wind slightly from the left, which is to be expected. Coming from that gap in the mountains. It's kind of swung around quite a lot. And in the turn, it's gone from a kind of from the right hand crosswind now to left hand crosswind. Interesting. Full flaps. Runway's clear. Speed's running away. Where am I stopped? What's our ground speed right now? 50. We're doing about 75 knots and we're doing 50 knots ground speed. Other arms, not bad. We just landed on this little clay runway, whatever it's made out of. Flaps will come up. Just going to shut down a few things here. Where's the other aircraft? He's off on the grass somewhere. Other cyber traffic, Juliet November is backtracking runway 30. Ah, there he is, and there's a little shed over there even. Cool. It's more of a road than a runway kind of thing, but it almost looks like you taxi down it. Race this out. Okay, shutting it down. All the switches are off. Master switches are off. It's 4 degrees out there. It's blasting on at 25 knots of unadulterated Antarctic breeze, bringing along rain and cloud and fog, which is expected to hit us tomorrow. So, yeah, well, we're going to do a second round of the tour. We're going to do the whole tour backwards with the new flight sim. So that will be interesting because we'll be back to Melaleuca Lagoon soon enough. Anyhow, yeah, really. How do you make him stop? Like that. Okay. Probably not the very first time on stream, but certainly we'll fairly early on get into it. I'll probably do one test flight just to make sure everything's working, fix anything that needs to be fixed, and then we'll do a stream. Alright, we definitely need to tie down this aircraft because we're going to be getting a bunch of very foul weather in the next 24 hours. So, let's go up here and chuck in some wheel trucks. Neck ourselves on the wing strut. Good stuff. Where's the thing? Pitot cover. There we go. Tie downs. And we are done. Cool. So with any luck, the aircraft will actually stay there, attached to the ground, and this 25 knot wind as these massive cloud and thunderstorms roll through the area in the next couple of days. Let's have a look at the weather. Southwest Tas. So, weather Southwest Tasmania. Today was awesome. 10 degrees and cloudy. Scattered showers tomorrow. 11 degrees maximum. Let's see if we can even do Bathurst Harbour. No, but it does have Melaleuca. There we go. So light showers tomorrow, 7 degrees. Light showers increasing on Saturday. Massive 100% showers, windy on Sunday. Monday, massive rain. Tuesday, -2 degrees showers. Wednesday, a shower or two. So we'll get out of here Wednesday for this Thursday, 90% chance of rain comes in. So yeah, that'll be the strategy. Wednesday we'll get out of here and head on down to Bruny Island. Till then, Juliet Kilo November will stay attached to the ground right where it is. Let's head down to the shack. And with any luck, we'll put a nice little flattened thing so that we don't get these weird raised bits of the river. But anyway, welcome to the shack. This is roughly where we'll be spending most of the next few days here in virtual Tassie. Sat in that house. I fear it is. Alrighty. And with that, I say thank you. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time, and probably do a stream tomorrow night. Till then, I've been Mr. Aviator. Ciao for now.